Kelly. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
So the goal of this last session is to help with developing some strategies, like implementing a plan for your credit card debt, and some things I wanted to go over with you to keep in mind are that, like, what constitutes like a good solution to help you with your plan is that it relates directly to your goal, and that it's simple, which means that it's not too complex, and that it focuses on the problem, and it focuses on like the strengths that you have to help you overcome the credit card debt. So with that in mind, I would like to hear from you what some possible strategies that you might have come up with that might help you get over your credit card debt.
So the main idea, I guess, is basically cutting other expenses or lowering other expenses. And so I've kind of listed what my expenses are and sort of just gone through each one of them and sort of determined what can I do to raise or lower this. One other challenge I think to that is that I come up with a plan or a budget every month, and I feel that I'm not always sticking to that budget.
Yeah, that can be a challenge.
So I would like to figure out how to better track my spending so that I can...
Spending habits?
Yeah, right.
Or just like exactly, are you saying exactly where your money's going?
Mm-hmm.
Like every cent of it, or just a general, like a more detailed plan?
I think more detailed. I don't know if every cent of it will help or not. Maybe initially it sounds like a lot of work to track every single transaction.
Right. Have you ranked your expenses as far as what's costing the most versus what's costing you the least amount of money? Like, what's going to make the most difference for you in cutting your expenses? Have you looked at that? Because like some things you probably won't be able to negotiate out, like rent or utilities,
right,
or those things. So
mm-hmm.
those...
Yeah, and those are the biggest ones.
The most logical ones that seem to cut are like necessary expenses, like eating out or...
Exactly.
Going to a movie, or... Those seem to be the most, but if you think about it, if you don't do that often, that might not be the best
mm-hmm.
strategy for you.
Right. I already don't...
So that wouldn't make too much of a difference. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Unless it's something that you do a lot, then that would make a difference.
I'd have to do some kind of analysis on that, though, because I'm like, I don't feel that I do often, but, you know, I could go into my records and then actually, oh yeah, that time, you know?
Right.
Like, you know, if I were to maybe just be more aware of it, might be better.
Have you ever heard of, I was looking up like what we were talking about, and I came across something called PowerPay. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
It's called powerpay.org. It's a debt elimination calculator.
Oh.
And it just kind of helps you see certain things and like what payments you could actually afford based on your budget.
Oh, great.
So I thought I might make that not as something you have to do, but just as a suggestion of something that you could look into that might be a starting point for you.
That would be great. What is that called?
It's called powerpay.org. It's a government-affiliated website that it's like a debt elimination plan. It helps you develop that.
Well, that's great.
Taking in all your expenses and...
Yeah, I will check that out for sure.
Do you have like, you said you did or you didn't have rankings for like your expenses that you could probably cut?
Sort of. I mean, my budget is sort of general. So there are those things. There's rent, utility, my horse board, which I feel that I've already taken steps to cut that quite a bit because I moved the horse to a cheaper area.
Right. I remember you saying that. Yeah.
And I sold one horse. So.
Even though you didn't want to, I'm sure.
Yeah, I cut my expenses there. My cell phone and my Anytime Fitness, those things are... I could actually just cut my gym membership.
And I'm not trying to tell you to cut anything
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that, because that's not like what my job is. My job is just to help you brainstorm ideas of what might be helpful for you.
Okay. So I had kind of thought about cutting it because I only use it about once a month.
Okay.
But I'd like to use it more, and
Sure.
so that's another goal, is getting my fitness, better fitness. But
Sure.
I need to also
Nothing wrong with
figure
that
out
goal at all.
how to use it better. I budgeted some Christmas presents, and I just sort of estimated on that one.
That's kind of a hard thing to budget
Yeah.
at this time of year, so
Uh-huh.
you can definitely understand that being a...
Right. Just other random things that I owe on that are not really big. Like, I have a PayPal account, a PayPal credit that's only I think I only have $75 on it or something, but I've been sending them a little bit of money every month just to maintain it. So...
Is that the PayPal something you use all the time?
Yeah. In fact, I use it for every online transaction. But I try to just pay it when I...
Sure.
But I feel like it's a safe way to do online transactions anyway.
Not in credit cards, but we don't want to increase your credit card debt.
Exactly. Don't want to increase that. I had thought that the best idea was to pay off my credit cards and then think about any other future big purchases. But it might be getting to that point where I really need a trailer if I'm going to move my horse anywhere. And that's to the vet and, kind of really important things.
Sure.
That I'm just not able to do anymore. I'm borrowing. The other option is renting, but that's iffy.
It's also probably another
added expense, yeah. And then if I had my own trailer, that would save.
It's definitely something to work towards.
Yeah. So it's something that, short term is sort of a big expense, but I'm always going to have a horse. So,
right.
In the long run, if you weigh the cost of renting versus owning, it would be a lot better. So that's kind of on my next goal anyway. And I'm not sure if I want to do that before I get rid of my credit card debt or not.
Right. So that's something that might come up, you're saying, before you pay off the credit card debt.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm thinking, well, credit card debt is probably not going to go away within the next year, and I imagine I'm going to move the horse a lot over the next year. So.
Is there any way that maybe we could, or not, I have a suggestion that I've heard people doing is just putting a little bit of money away, each pay, this, I guess this works better for people who get paid bi-weekly, but
yeah,
a little bit, $20 every paycheck, and then putting a lump sum towards a credit card payment. I've heard of people doing that, but
I hadn't thought of doing it that way.
That way you could just do a lump sum. If that works for you. If that doesn't, then there can be other creative solutions that you can come up with. Can you give any other activities or tasks that might help eliminate the credit card debt?
I thought
in the most efficient way possible.
I thought about the other one that was sort of fluid or flexible is my food budget, which I don't know if I put on this budget at all. It's really weird. I forgot I was going to eat this month. Oops. But usually I put $250 for that. So, and I'm not even sure if I use it or not, or if I go way over. It would
maybe
take
recalculating the food budget.